As 2025 ends, the Trump administration is urgently pushing for a Ukraine-Russia peace deal, presenting a trimmed-down 20-point plan to Kyiv. The White House wants a quick signing, leveraging a year of stalemated attritional warfare where neither side has broken through. This push follows a controversial Alaska summit between Trump and Putin, and tense White House talks with Zelensky and European leaders. Trump has set a 2-week deadline, warning that failure could mean a shift in U.S. support, a clear threat to Ukraine's military aid. Many European allies and analysts are deeply skeptical, seeing the plan as a Kremlin-influenced effort to pressure Kyiv into accepting terms that favor Moscow. Leaks suggest the proposal's core was drafted in Moscow, with the U.S. presenting it as its own. The most contentious issues, territorial concessions and Ukraine's NATO future, are left vague, to be hashed out in direct talks. Meanwhile, Ukraine's defenses have stalled Russian advances, but Kyiv lacks the firepower for a major counteroffensive. Russia, with support from China, Iran, and North Korea, has ramped up military production, but failed to capture new cities, risking unrest at home. The diplomatic pressure is mounting, but the war's brutal stalemate continues. European leaders warn the proposed peace deal is a strategic trap, not a path to real security. Critics argue the plan would freeze the conflict on Russia's terms, giving Moscow time to rearm and institutionalize its influence over Ukraine. Provisions about protecting Russian speakers would let the Kremlin meddle in Ukraine's politics indefinitely. By having the U.S. front the plan, Russia avoids looking like the aggressor, while Zelensky faces impossible choices: accept and risk legitimacy, or refuse and risk losing U.S. aid. Moscow's demands remain unchanged: keep annexed territories, weaken Ukraine, lift sanctions, and avoid accountability for war crimes. Detractors see the proposal as a vehicle for these goals, disguised as compromise. For Ukraine, the peace proposal is an agonizing dilemma. Zelensky's red lines are clear: no compromise on 1991 borders, no limits on alliances, and no amnesty for Russian war crimes. Any deal demanding neutrality or limiting Ukraine's military is seen as a recipe for future conflict. Justice for war crimes and reparations are non-negotiable for Kyiv. Yet, Ukraine's defense depends on Western aid, especially from the U.S., making outright rejection risky. The Trump administration's pressure puts Zelensky in a bind: negotiate for better terms or risk losing vital support. Ukraine is trying to amend the proposal while showing its people it won't sacrifice core principles. The stakes: sovereignty, security, and justice for a nation under siege. The proposed deal alarms NATO's eastern flank, especially Poland and the Baltics. For them, legitimizing Russian gains would embolden Moscow and threaten their own security. Poland, a key Ukrainian ally, fears becoming the next front line if Ukraine is forced into a weak peace. Russian provocations, border violations, drone incursions are already testing NATO's resolve. A deal leaving Russian forces in occupied Ukraine would permanently alter Europe's security landscape. Poland and its neighbors insist only a decisive Ukrainian victory can guarantee lasting peace. They argue robust support for Kyiv is the best way to secure Europe's future. European leaders, wary of the US-led peace push, are refusing to be rushed into a bad deal. Public statements from Macron and Stubb reflect deep distrust of Putin's intentions. With US support in doubt, Europe is accelerating plans to finance and arm Ukraine independently. The EU is debating a $140 billion reparations loan for Ukraine, funded by profits from frozen Russian assets. This move signals Europe's willingness to support Kyiv, with or without US backing. The EU is also tightening sanctions, aiming to further weaken Russia's war machine. Despite Russia's resilience, sanctions have cost it hundreds of billions and driven away foreign investment. Europe hopes sustained economic and military pressure will tip the balance. As 2025 closes, Ukraine faces a stark choice: accept a flawed peace that freezes the conflict, or endure a grinding war of attrition. The US-backed proposal could stop the bloodshed, but leave Ukraine's sovereignty compromised, and the risk of renewed conflict high. If Ukraine resists, the war may drag on, with mounting costs and continued reliance on European support. Europe's role is now pivotal. Its unity, defense production, and willingness to use frozen Russian assets will shape Ukraine's future. A just peace restoring Ukraine's borders remains distant, but a premature deal would be a strategic disaster for the West. The struggle continues, on the battlefield and at the negotiating table, as Ukraine and its allies fight to avoid the trap of a false peace. The outcome will define Europe's security for years to come.